Hi, good morning everybody. My name's Nikki and I work in CAS Admissions. Can I just check before we start today's presentation, could a couple of people just type if you can hear me clearly? Multiple attendees are typing, that sounds like a good thing. Perfect. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. So as I said, I'm Nikki and I work in CAS Admissions. I'm joined today by Tom, who also works in the admissions department, but probably more exciting for you, we're joined by Dr. Joanna Zaleska, who is the course director for the Business Studies programme. So the idea of this online web chat is Joanna is going to give a 15 to 20 minute presentation telling you quite a lot about the Business Studies course, why we think it's special at CAS, and then after the presentation we're going to open up to question and answers with you. So what you'll be able to do, you won't be able to speak to us, but you will be able to type questions. And then what we will do is we will answer them at the end of the presentation. If there's any links that we need to give you or contact details, we will type those for you so that you have them clearly. And at the end of the session, what we will do, at the end of this week, we are recording today's web chat and we will send you a link to that. So if you need to log off at any time, perhaps you have lectures to go to, or whatever happens, we will be able to send it to you and you can listen to it at a later time. So I'm going to pass you over to Dr. Zaleska, who is going to give the presentation. Hi, Joanna.
Hello. Thank you, Nikki. I hope you all can hear me. I'm Joanna and I am course director for Business Studies. Today I will try to tell you all what is important and all what you need to know about our degree, and hopefully we will see you all next year. So let's start. Well, just to remind you, maybe you know, maybe you don't know about our ranking, and that's always very important. We are #1 in London, #4 in UK. Why am I starting with this? Because it is important not only for you as a student or a potential applicant, but also for employers. Employers tend to hire students from schools who are ranked very highly, and CAS is one of them. Business and Management degree in City University, as you can see, for many years have been ranked as on the top in Guardian University Guide. Now, before I tell you about specifics of business degree, I want to start with a little comparison between business studies and management degree. We are the only one school in UK which has those two degrees separately, and a lot of students are confused why we do it, why we don't have it as one degree, business and management studies. So starting with business studies, if I want to explain in one sentence what's so special and what is different about that degree, well, we focus on business functions. If you want to learn about different types of organizations from domestic to international, business studies are for you, and then you will be able to learn about different departments and functions like marketing, finance, human resource management. We also offer 2 specializations. From second year you will be able to study more in marketing and finance. I will talk about this later, but that's specific characteristics of business studies degrees. Now, management, if you compare to business studies degree, is not focusing so much on organization and how it is built and what type of functions we have, but it is focusing on skills of consultants, or on skills of people who supposed to analyze and manage organizations. So different type of classes, different type of approach. Although we share a lot of courses, core courses and electives, however, those degrees are 2 different degrees in our schools. On each of them we have this year almost 185 students, but you can see on that slide we have a different focus. One is focusing business studies on organizations. Management is focusing on person who is working for organization and what type of skill that person needs to have. all sorts of skills, from analytical skills like developing research to problem-solving, decision-making skills. So that's the beginning. Then some other similarities in terms of organizations between these two degrees. So although I'm talking about management and business studies, but this refers very much to business studies on its own. You will have to study 8 modules per year, from 16 to 20 hours face-to-face contact per week. However, we focus a lot on your independence, on your autonomy and self-directed study. Recently, we restructured our degree. We reduced some courses for our students to be able to study more their favorite disciplines, to go to the library to do secondary research. So self-directed study is really focused in our school. Then the same type of academic standards and quality control in terms of exams and coursework. Each exam is moderated by internal examiner, then external examiner. So there is a consistency, transparency. If there are any mistakes, we are able to correct it, but in that way we make sure our students feel they are assessed in a fair way. We have many feedback mechanisms by which we give you comments on your performance. We try to develop you feedback either written or feedback given orally by teachers. Also, we have a peer feedback when your colleagues are assessing you and giving comments on your performance, for example, during presentations. Then we have a mixture of, in our curriculum, of core modules and electives. Core module is a discipline of science which you need to study. You have no choice. You have to study and pass exam. Electives, there are courses which are optional. There are many of them. I will show you a list which we have in each year. We assume once you are in school, you develop, you're more mature, you know what you want to study, therefore we give you options of diverse courses which you can pick and be more satisfied as a student. Then we offer some pastoral support, because we know you experience a lot of tensions, deadlines. Sometimes help is needed in terms of advice, not from teacher, but from somebody who can objectively help you and provide and look at everything from different perspectives. You can get that help from teachers, but also from your peers. We have mentor and buddy schemes when senior students who experience the same problems and you are able to offer you advice from their own studies. And then as 2 degrees, we share the same schools, the same facilities. Undergraduate department is based in Northampton Square. However, Cass Business School is based in Bunhill Row, so there are 2 different buildings. As groups, sometimes we share core courses, we share electives, so you have a chance to meet students and colleagues from other degrees. Now, specifics on business studies. In terms of program structure and how we reduced from last year to this year, and this is what will happen next year, you can see on this slide 3 years and how many core and electives you have in each year. So part 1, 5 core courses plus 1 elective. Part 2, which is second year, you have to study 5 core courses plus 3 electives. Soon I will show you specifics of those courses, so don't worry. And in part 3, you have only basically 1 core course, because second is your final year project, final dissertations. And then you have a chance to choose 5 electives. So you can see you almost shape degree on your own in your year 3. You study really what you want, and also your final dissertation, you write on a topic which you want, so our students value a lot that independence. Each of our module, whether it is elective or core, they are 15 credits. If it's a double module, then they are 30 credits. But now let's look at the specifics. So you can see here part 1, that's our year 1. In blue, these are core courses, compulsory courses. This is how you start, from financial mathematics and business statistics, then introduction to financial accounting for business, Introduction to Macroeconomics, and Management Practice and Skills, specific course which is focusing on the knowledge of organization and teams. But you can see a lot of subjects in maths and based on numerical skills. Our degree is in numerical, so we start very strongly with those disciplines. We also offer to students who feel that they are weak in numerical skills, precessional math, so you can all start from the same level. In red you can see they are all examined, so you have exams, and then we have a spring term when we continue with financial mathematics and business statistics. Then we have a special course, integrative course called Focus, when you learn how functions of organizations interrelate, integrate, how they need to communicate. And you have a chance to choose one elective. You see our exams are in January and also in May for those 2 terms. Let's now look at the map of electives which we have, and that's year 1. So you could see we have 7 here: Management Science, Microeconomics, International Business Environment, Introduction to Business Law. We know some of you are dreaming about your own businesses and little startups. Knowledge of business law is important for people who want to succeed on the market and compete. Then for those of you who want to do more accounting, we have an Introduction to Management Accounting. Then specific elective called Reflective Practitioner, which is focusing on skills of self-awareness and self-assessment, as we know that your confidence and knowledge about your weaknesses and strengths is related to your success in a professional world. So that's why we included such elective for first year. And then Introduction to Visual Basics. That's for people who love computers and IT. I'm sorry I cannot say more about this, but I'm sure some of you will know what type of subject it is. Now, year 2. During second year, we really offer you core courses which are focusing on organizational disciplines and functions. So you can see we start with Principles of Finance, then we go to Principles of Marketing, Human Resource Management, Operations Management in term 2. These are very important functions of organizations, whether they are international or domestic. They are all examined as well. We continue with business statistics. I still want to remind you, although business studies is a general degree, but it's a numerical degree. You need to be good in terms of analytical and mathematical skills. And that is very important for research and for your first jobs. So you will continue with business statistics. And you also have a chance to choose 3 electives. 3 different courses of your choice. And I'm going to show you a list of those electives. This is much more and longer and elaborated list in comparison with year 1. So from business and industrial economics to IT, accounting electives, qualitative market research, European business culture, financial markets, new venture thinking elective, very interesting for all students who want to work on their own and dream about their own companies, personal finance, asset management for those who want to who are interested more in finance, Chinese management. We know there is a growing labor market there, so maybe some of you dream about international jobs to go to China. Intellectual property management, elective again for those who want to work on their own and know how to protect their brand, their copyrights. That's very important to succeed in a fierce competition. Branding and advertising and consumer behavior, 2 electives for those who want to do more in marketing, and Introduction to Python. That's again elective connected to coding and visual basics. Now, as I said before, we have specializations, and they start from year 2 after first term when you have a chance to study marketing and finance. you can choose streams. They are recognized on your final diploma, and in order to get those specializations, you need to study some additional electives. So for example, if you choose to specialize in finance, you have to choose these compulsory electives +1. So financial accounting for business and financial markets. And also you get some accreditation from Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales. So it's worth it because you will have some exemptions and some entry to specific, more specialized diplomas and studies later. Well, for those students who do not like finance, we offer marketing specialization. And you have to choose 2 electives, branding and advertising and consumer behavior. Here again, there are some exemptions and accreditation offered from Chartered Institute of Marketing. So these 2 options are very popular, especially for those exemptions, and you have a chance to graduate from business studies with specialized stream. Although if you want to stay more general, you can stay general. You don't have to choose that specialization. One comment here, once you choose it in a second year, you continue this during 3rd year. Now, year number 3. As I mentioned before, final year project, which is your final dissertation, you started in September, you get your supervisor, and you write on the topic which you choose. Then you have a 1 core course strategy for business. We know our students love strategy. And then 5 electives from very interesting list, which I'm going to show you soon. All is examined again, and final year project is assessed by 2 examiners. These are the specializations. If you continue them with year 3, with finance, you need to do corporate finance and financial service regulations, so 2 specialized courses. And for marketing students, we choose variety of courses, but you have to choose 2 of them. So this year we offer to our students applied market research, contemporary topics in marketing, strategic marketing, social media theory and practice, for those of you who love Facebook and Twitter, to know more how we can use it for business purposes. So I think it's interesting. And now you can see in my final list, that's electives which we currently offer for year 3. So many different disciplines, many different topics. You can see from climate change to corporate social responsibilities, emerging markets, entrepreneurship theory and practice. We continue with electives which help students to open and start their own businesses, international financial management, international human resource management. This is the course I teach. Supply chain, integral innovation and practice. That's for people who want to improve their creativity skills, virtual organizations, and then some electives with word strategic, like strategic marketing, bank strategy, advanced strategic management. That's for people who want to learn more about strategy. So that's about our structure. Now about teaching methods. Well, from very traditional lectures to case studies, group work, since we are big groups, a lot of coursework will be based on a teamwork, either to write reports or give presentations, and then tutorials. In some classes you have additional workshops, additional meetings with your teaching tutors in smaller groups, so you can really learn much more and ask questions when lecture and reading from the textbook is not enough. Now, why CAS? Why? What type of arguments we want to show you, and why you need, and when you are still considering why you should choose us. These are some statistics from our previous students, what it is they liked about us. So 96% of actual science students were satisfied with the quality of their course. 87% students from investment degree said that staff is good in explaining things. 85% from management degree said their communication and presentation skills have improved as a result of the course. This is what students have to do usually when they have a teamwork. And then from my degree, 85% of students from business studies said that staff is very enthusiastic when they teach. And 95, I think this is one of the best statistics, of banking students said they are satisfied with the quality of their course. So arguments are here. You have a chance to be happy and satisfied student too. Now, a little bit on other options which we have. Although it's a 3-year study, we offer you a special 2 opportunities. You can have 4-year studies. This is when you choose to study abroad and go for 1 year to one of our partner institutions. I will show you soon the list of those universities. But for those of you who want to improve their CV and have a competitive advantage, we offer placements, professional 1-year work placements, when you have a chance to work for different type of organizations and get work experience. And that choices we offer you after 2nd year. You can also have a replacement of the 2nd year when you go abroad and study 2nd year in another institution. Then in that form your studies last 3 years. Now you can see on that map different universities from different continents, different countries, to which our students go either for exchange or replacement. So from North America to Asia, continental Europe, you have a chance to experience different educational systems. You have a chance to experience, to network, to meet different people. So this is a very, we believe this is a very good option for you, and many of our students are choosing that option. Now, in terms of professional placement, for those of you, for those of you who wants to get work experience as soon as possible, you can see the list of professional companies from professional services industries, banks, IT, Coca-Cola, so big multinational companies, Goldman Sachs, big investment banks, Morgan Stanley. And you can also see on that slide typical jobs which you have as a graduate. So as I mentioned before, we prepare you in terms of research and mathematical skills, and to be a researcher and to be analyst, and it's the first job really which our interns do. Very often when they come back from those placements, they write also dissertations based on experiences from those placements. So you can be placed not only in a finance department, but also in marketing and sales and accounting. So many different choices. The list of companies is big. So that's the second option, apart from international exchange. Now, how do we prepare you for employment? What type of skills we believe you will get once you graduate and you're really ready to be on your own and start? We give you confidence, first of all. You are able to demonstrate your knowledge and skills. We focus a lot on communication and presentation, so you can pass your knowledge, and you can also present and express your points and arguments. You are a curious individual. We focus a lot on your independence and creativity. You are also team workers, so you know how to work with international colleagues, but we know our cohorts are very diverse, so all that complexity and diversity which you experience during studies works for you later in your workplace. Well, be flexible and open-minded. That's really probably the most important attitude which you need to have, because there is a lot of competition ahead of you and tough work waiting there. So if you're flexible and adaptable, you will be able to succeed, and we hope we prepare you for that. Now, career prospects. You can see the slide with many different companies in which our students got their jobs. So again, investment banks, well-known big multinational companies from Americans to Europeans. But also many of our students come back to the family businesses, to the businesses of their parents with improved knowledge and skills. And some of them, they start up their own businesses, because we prepare them in terms of entrepreneurship and creativity. So these are the choices for you once you graduate. And that's all what I wanted to say, and I hope you will ask now some specific questions, so we will be able to help together with admission team. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. That was really useful, and I hope everyone here also found it very useful and beneficial. So just to kind of remind you guys of who's invited to this web chat, everyone that's dialed in is interested in business studies. So either you're already holding an offer with CAS, or you're still waiting for a decision on your application. So now you know that, let's start with some questions. Does anyone have anything they would like to ask Joanna? I can see a couple of people are typing. We'll just wait for the questions to come through. Okay, so first question we have coming in is, when will we have to choose our option? Do you mean by that in terms of sort of specialisation? Or do you mean electives? Perhaps Joanna could answer on both in terms of when they would.
Yeah. In terms of specialisation, you have to choose in spring term, second year, so you don't have to choose it now. You still have 1.5 years of general business studies. And also, if you don't want to choose specialization, I want to say you can stay general. You can pick whatever electives you want and do apart from electives core courses. So specializations are really offered only for those students who have chosen business studies, but they realized, well, we wish we have done something more specific in finance or in marketing. But you can still stay general. These are only options, they are not compulsory.
Okay, that's brilliant, thank you. We also have a question now from Al asking, how does the placement system work? Do we help find you the placement, or do students have to do everything on their own? And is the placement year guaranteed? That's something that I can certainly help answer from an admissions point of view. The way it works is, obviously when you apply, you're just applying for the standard 3-year programme. Then during it's normally the spring term of the first year, the placements office will get in touch with students and ask if you're interested in registering to apply for this. In order to be eligible, you do need to pass all of your first year modules at the first attempt. And then during the second year at CAS, you would be applying for placements. Now, the placements office are there to help support you in applications. Companies will try and recruit students through a number of different ways. Sometimes they might just get in touch with the placements office and say they have a certain position or a number of positions, and the placements office will then email out that job, the job information to students who are interested in the placements, and you would then apply for that. In other cases, we do actually host fairs on site at the university, and employers will come in specifically targeting the CAS students. Now, placements aren't guaranteed. They are competitive because they are very, very beneficial for you, both in terms of sort of the experience that you gain, but also they are paid placements. So there is a competition to secure those. It might be that you're just competing with other CAS students. It might be that you're competing with students from other institutions, but we do have a very good track record in terms of securing placements, and certainly during the application process we do help in terms of things such as application support for your CV, interview practice. We have mock questions, mock diagnostic tests, so for example when they do the sort of personality screening, which quite a lot of the large companies do. So hopefully that helps answer that question. And there's a question asking, what is the structure of holidays? Perhaps Joanna can tell us a bit more about that, because unfortunately in admissions we just get standard normal holidays. We
have 2 terms, autumn and spring, and between autumn and spring you have a Christmas holidays. That's before your exams. That's usually 2 to 3 weeks, I think. And then you have a spring term, and then usually that term finishes before or after Easter, because that's flexible. And in May you have exam, and from June to September, these are your summer holidays. Now, and that's the same for all degrees. We have 8 undergraduate degrees in Cass Business School. So 2 terms and Christmas break, and then after Easter you have time to prepare for exams in May and then summer holidays. Now, what other question? The main differences between business studies and management studies in terms of job opportunities? No differences. Placements and job opportunities are the same for management and business studies students. They have a chance to compete for the same type of jobs and the same type of placements.
Okay, thank you, Joanna. So we're getting quite a few questions coming in at the moment. I'm just taking a note of them down. So if it feels like we're skipping between them, don't worry. We're going to come back, check them and make sure we're covering them all. We have a question on fees, asking if the fee structure will remain the same in the new school. Could I just ask the person that asked that question if you could just clarify whether you mean, is that for study abroad, or do you mean sort of in terms of as the years change, like kind of as you go into 2nd and 3rd year? So just wait for that one to come through. There is a question in terms of job opportunities for business studies and management, which I think you have touched on.
Yeah. Also, there is a question about foreign language opportunities. Yes, we offer them. There is a special department, but these are outside of the credit structure. You can study them from 6 to 9 o'clock every day, and we improve offer from all continental European languages to Chinese, Arabic. So yes, there's a chance, and you get a special diploma. You study them depending on the level you are. So yes, we offer that, but that's not within the structure of the degree.
Okay, thank you. Okay, in terms of the fees, once you're on the study abroad or placement year, you do pay a fee, but it is a reduced fee, and that's what that fee covers. It covers your kind of professional support that you get during that year, because there are certain touch points that you need to do with the university. Now, the fees for the year that you would be taking the placement have not yet been set, because obviously you would be joining us in 2014, so the study abroad and placement years would be a couple of years after that. What I can give you are the current fees. So for students who are currently on a placement year, for home and European students, that fee is £1,030, and for international students, it is £2,060. For study abroad, for home students, £1,100, and for overseas student, £2,200. So you can see it is considerably less than the normal fee, and you obviously don't pay another fee to the other college that you would be studying at for that year. So they would be your only tuition fees for that year. We do have a couple of questions regarding our pre-sessional maths course. The pre-sessional maths course is intended for students who are joining CAS with sort of the most, not basic minimal math skills, but the kind of the lowest entry of maths, or students who have not studied maths for a few years. It's not actually assessed, so you can't fail that course if you are taking it, but what it does is just intended as a kind of refresher program, and also a chance just for you to kind of enhance your confidence, because there is a subject in the first year called Financial Maths and Business Statistics, and that is very quantitative in terms of content. So what the pre-session maths course will do, each day it focuses on a specific area of maths, and it just kind of reignites and just gives you a little bit of confidence in terms of practicing your math skills. In terms of students that would like to take the programme that are joining CAS with higher than the basic entry level of maths skills, you can apply for it, and obviously if you've already been in contact with CAS, we will have your details, but places are limited, so we do only offer places to students at a later stage if you are joining with higher math skills. So we'd have to wait and see first if we had any places available. If we did, then we would be able to accommodate you, but we'd have to give preference to those students who are joining with the sort of lower end of the math skills. And it's certainly not meant to scare anyone, because we feel confident that anyone that we do accept at the programme does have a decent level of maths and will do really well. So please don't worry about the maths programme, it is there to help you.
Now I will take the question on exams. Yes, every course has an exam and coursework. Percentage varies from 70% of your final grade is based on exam and 30% on coursework, and sometimes there's 50 and 50. How exams are assessed depends on the discipline really. You have a tests, numerical tests, or you have a essay-based exams. So variety of options really. Coursework very rarely is individual, it's based on the team, however exams are always individual. What else? Do we only do exams or combination of exams and coursework? No, there's always combination. There's always combinations, so we try to assess you from using many different forms. Class size. What is the average class size? Well, this year, on first year, we have 180 students. They are taught in streams. So each stream is a half of the cohort. And then also we have tutorials, and tutorials are from 15 to 20 students. However, when you have lectures, you might all have lectures in one big class. So this is about our class sizes. We have, you will be always taught in streams. Once we have almost 200 students, you will be taught in streams. How many languages are we allowed to take? Up to you. You can take as many as possible. Again, this is not part of your degree anymore. So if you have a time and if you can manage with your degree and classes, you can take as many languages as possible.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, the way the elective languages work now is if you are interested in doing a language study, during your induction week, it's normally on the Thursday, but the timetable hasn't yet been set. But traditionally, it always has been a Thursday, so we'll assume it is going to be that day. During that induction week on the Thursday, if you're interested, you would go along and you would be assessed to kind of see what level of language skills you had in that particular subject. So perhaps you're a complete beginner. Maybe you've been studying it to GCSE level. Maybe you've spent a bit of time living in a certain country, or your A-level standard or international equivalent. Provided that there is sufficient demand for that course, so other students are also interested in it, you would then be allocated based on your language skills, and the languages would take place between 6 and 8 in the evening traditionally. I think there's a couple that take place perhaps on Monday afternoon, but it's normally outside of the normal teaching hours.
They are free of charge.
Yeah, and they are offered free of charge by CAS. So they don't count towards your degree classification, but you would get a separate certificate with your level of language skills at the end of the course. It is assessed at the end of each year, and I believe there's also would be a line on your basic transcript as well, just confirming that.
There's a question on how do we choose electives. Well, information on all courses and electives are on the website, so students have a chance to read about them and look for the whole year, but then depends on the degree, depends on the year. Usually we give students 2 or 3 weeks to choose their electives, and then they register, and depend on the numbers they are accepted on those electives. However, you have a chance to read more about each course and elective from module specifications, which are on our website. There is one question I had, that the course Business Studies is less reputed than other course. Well, we are number one. I showed you on a second slide, so how we can have a worse reputation. I don't know which other course you refer to, but at least in terms of ranking, which is published data, we are number one, business and management.
Yeah. Just to kind of add to that, because there are quite a few questions coming in regarding sort of careers after CAS and sort of your kind of options with that. A lot of our reputation at CAS comes from the power of our alumni, so previous students that have studied at CAS and have then gone on to work, particularly in the finance sector. Our students perform really well in terms of their contribution to companies, and so it's quite often, particularly for things like the placements or sort of graduate opportunities afterwards, companies will specifically target CAS Business School students because they know that we do equip students with employable skills, and that is obviously a really good reason for picking to study here. There is a question in terms of sort of, for example, if you were to specialise in marketing, could you still go on to perhaps do an MSc in finance? That is very typical of the types of things that a business studies student might do. Certainly it's quite a broad degree, and just to kind of talk in terms of postgraduate study, at an undergraduate level at CAS, we have the 6 degrees, of which business studies and management are the sort of more broader overviews of areas. We obviously do have more specialised programmes as well. When you come to master's level, there are 16 master's programs at CAS. So that really gives you an idea that at that stage, students are much more likely to specialise. And it is possible to kind of change quite dramatically in terms of what area it is that you're interested in. You're certainly not prohibited from doing something connected to, say, becoming an investment banker, doing chartered accountancy, whatever it might be. There are lots of options for you. You can also keep very creative. Perhaps you have a big interest in fashion, but you want the business acumen behind you. So there's lots of opportunities for people. Just going to touch on quickly as well, we do have a visit day coming up on the 2nd of April, and that will be next Wednesday. It's in the afternoon and it'll be hosted at Northampton Square. So if you are interested in that, we will be providing you with a link to that afterwards.
Also, in terms of flexibility and changing degrees, we know that some of you might, after first year or first term, think we have chosen the wrong degree. So we do offer chance for some students who passed all their exams to switch between degrees. Not too many of them. If there are places, we will allow for those who are on business to move to management or to more finance specialized degrees, or vice versa. We know that when you are young, you want to keep your options open, and also maybe when you were accepting the offer, you were not so sure. So there will be that chance and flexibility. We have 7 other degrees, and you will be able to change.
I've got questions. So there's a couple of questions just coming in with regards to things such as average starting salary. For business studies graduates, our average starting salary is £25,000, which was from a survey that we took 6 months after graduation. And the typical salary range would be from £19,000 through to £33,000. So it is very attractive again in that sense. Joanna, could you tell us, is there any English support provided? Do you know, for students if they want additional support for their English skills?
There is some workshops and classes for overseas and international students. Yes, and then also career services, they offer some help. So yes, definitely, especially in the first 2 years, we care about our overseas students. There are some workshops in writing skills, essay-based skills. We know international students need more help in terms of writing in English. So yes, this help is offered by university. There is a question about credit structure. Let me come back to credits. Credit is a special UK British term. You need to earn this amount of credits, 120 credits, in order to graduate and have on your final diploma recognized degree, Bachelor of Science. But each module has 15 credits. That's what we have in our school. If it's a double module, then there is 30 credits, and by passing exams and coursework on those modules, you earn those credits. So 3 years amounts to 120 credits. But then obviously per each year this is less. For example, your final dissertation is 30 credits, but typical core course will have 15 credits. So this is how we measure and express education in UK educational system.
Thank you. Thanks, Joanna. Okay, we have some other questions coming in. There's one with regards to timetables. Typically, you should expect that you would be on site between Monday and Friday. The earliest lectures would start at 9 AM. They tend to finish by 6 PM. They tend to be around 2 hours in length, most of the lectures. How long are the tutorials normally?
Usually also 2 hours.
Okay, so you get an idea in terms of sort of the likely workload. You would normally have around 18 to 22 hours of taught contact, which is a mix of lectures and tutorials in the first year, and we would expect that you would do the same amount of home study at least. It's not normal that you would have many kind of timetabled commitments on a Wednesday afternoon, because that tends to be the time that students do things such as sports and societies.
And we have many of them. There is a question whether we have some clubs, but there are many of them.
There are lots of sports clubs. The university has a sports centre, which is being at the moment refurbished, and quite a lot of investment is being put into that. That's due to open in September. There are a large number of clubs and societies. We will be able to give you the link in terms of, thank you, in terms of the types of things. In terms of sports, we have, for example, men's and women's football, men's and women's basketball, men's and women's badminton, rugby, fencing, netball, cheerleading,
do they have a
cricket,
horse riding club?
I don't know if we have horse riding, but we certainly have lots. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things, and certainly it's the type of thing. If there is a sport or society that you're really interested in, if you can get, I think it's normally 3 people to have sort of interest, so you would then have a sort of a kind of support group for that. You can put your case to the Students' Union, and they will then typically fund that for you.
Accommodation system. Do you know, Nikki?
I know a little bit about accommodation. We have halls of residence at the university. Now, that would be for first-year students. In order to be guaranteed a place in halls, you need to firmly accept your offer with CAS, and you would need to apply for a place in halls of residence by the 30th of June. We can give you information in terms of a link to the hall, so you get an idea. There are several different types of halls. Some of them are sort of studio-based, and some of them are more sort of your typical halls of residence flat style. So the ones that are more flat style, you would have your private bedroom, but you would be sharing a bathroom and kitchen facilities with some other students. The studio-style apartments, you get a little kitchenette in your room, you get an ensuite bathroom, but there are also communal areas. Typically, you would start your contract and accommodation the weekend before the start of term, and that would take you through from September through to June. They're normally around 40 weeks in length, the contracts. I'm not going to lie to you, accommodation is expensive in London. I think our cheapest halls of residence at the moment starts at around £185.50 per week. There is also private halls of residence, and students can also obviously look into their own accommodation. Being based in London, there is a huge number of private flat shares available, and if you want to kind of get information in terms of reputable landlords, the University Student Centre, the accommodation office based there, they're really good in terms of giving you advice on reputable landlords. Just running through some of the other questions that are coming through. There was a question regards if you wanted to change your course, how would you go about that? Now, during the admission cycle, if you are holding an offer with CAS, if you want to request to be considered for a different course, what you would need to do is contact our admissions team. Best thing to do is to do that in writing, because what we're going to ask you for is a new statement, typically 2 to 3 paragraphs in length, just kind of reiterating what it is about the other programme at CAS that you're interested in, and just so that we can see a little bit of commitment and passion from you for that particular programme. If we have places available, and typically it is easier to swap during the admissions time, we would then let you know. We would make the necessary amendments on your UCAS track record, and if, for example, most of the programs, the entry criteria is the same, so it shouldn't affect your offer, but if it does, then we'd let you know that before we transferred you. It is a good idea that earlier in the admission cycle to let us know you want to do that, because the more flexibility and the more likely it is that we can accommodate you. It's much more difficult to do that when it comes to results time and once the programme then gets full.
There's a question whether CAS students are separated from other students in City University. Yes and no. I mean, you are based in the Northampton Square and Drysdale Wing or Center. That's CAS Business School. So we have your own facilities. You have your own place when you can do when course office is based, and also you have a social area. But then in terms of classes, they are located in many different places of City University. CAS Business School, when we have a postgraduate courses and master courses, this is located on a different street, on Barnhill Road. So that's one question.
I have a question with regards to pre-sessional maths. I believe the starting date for that is Wednesday the 10th of September. It's typically 8 days in length, and it would take you up to the weekend before the start of term. So for everyone joining CAS, the official start day is Monday the 22nd of September. That is the week that you will be doing your induction. It's a really critical week. It's fantastic. It's a huge amount of fun. It's very busy. So for example, you would that week you would meet Joanna. You would get an introduction to the course content, so the lectures that you would then be choosing over that week. you would meet your course officer, who is someone who's going to support you during any kind of professional support you need during the term. You'll do things, for example, like get your ID card, have your maths test so that you can then be put into the correct tutorial group for the financial maths and business statistics module that we touched on. There's also things like the Students' Union Fair, so if you did want to sign up for societies, that's the week that you would do that. And there's lots of kind of opportunities to get to know the other students on your course, and it is a lot of fun. So just to remind you, 10th of September start pre-sessional maths, 22nd of September start of term.
There was a question previously asked about your job opportunities and competition. Yes, it is tough market, and we know market is very competitive. However, our career services are very well developed. We have special career consultants only for CAS Business School students. They meet with you on one-to-one basis. They prepare you in terms of interview, in terms of psychometric tests. So you get a lot of help from the year one. We are not waiting until you graduate. We know we need to prepare you for competition and a job market from the moment you enter to our school. So career services are for you to help you in terms of getting jobs.
Okay. There was a question in terms of the accommodation prices for this coming year. I would say if it's saying that the prices are going to be published shortly, just to keep having a look at the accommodation web page. If you have any more specialised questions based on accommodation, it might be best to contact that accommodation team directly. If you want to do that by email, the address is accomm@city.ac.uk, and we will type that for you and provide that email address for you. I know some people are waiting on decisions for applications. In terms of turnaround for that, firstly, thank you for your patience whilst you are waiting. I know it can be a little bit of an anxious time. I certainly wouldn't worry if you've not had a decision yet, because we are still very much making offers to applicants, but we do get a huge number of applications. And we are quite a small admissions team. There's only 3 of us, so there's Rachel, Tom and myself. In terms of decision dates, if you applied for a place by the 15th of January deadline, you will get a decision from CAS by the 31st of March. If it's not possible for us to give you a decision by that date and you did fall into the 15th of January application time, you will have had some sort of email from us, or certainly we'll have the next couple of days where we might be needing some further information from you, but I should expect that you should get a decision by the 31st of March. If you applied after the 15th of January, we will start looking at those applications from start of April, so I'd expect that you'd probably get a decision in April, but it can take up to the 30th of June, so just to kind of be aware of that. It doesn't mean anything bad if you don't hear anything and your friends have all had decisions. It's just that it just does take a little bit of time for us to kind of process through the applications, and we do look in depth at each of the applicants, so just to kind of read that.
A lot of questions about textbooks and books. Yes, we have 1 or 2 which we suggest for people before they join business studies, and that will be available on the website, Nikki? Or?
Yeah, and what we do, we actually, in August, so it's normally after A-level results have been published, we will send out information regarding your induction week, so that will go to all applicants who are holding unconditional firm offers with us, so i.e. your place has been confirmed. We'll send you your induction week timetable, and at that time, that's when we send you sort of suggested pre-course reading, which is typically between sort of 1 and 3 books.
And also for each module, you get a textbook and reading list from the teachers, and that obviously depends on the discipline you will be studying. And then you're supposed to buy or borrow that book from the library, or some of them, especially textbooks, they have an e-learning form now, so they are available on internet, but each textbook is given you in a syllabus before the core course or elective starts. So in terms of readings, you will know exactly what you need to do for each specific class.
These are some really cool questions coming in, so thank you so much, guys, for sort of, coming up with these questions. I know certainly they are really useful for other applicants as well, so do keep asking anything you have. We do have a question that's come up a couple of times with regards to the placements. and also study abroad in terms of having to pass first and second year subjects. I think actually, to be honest, you probably do need to pass both years. We would probably have to check that with placements, but what I would say, it is competitive to get these positions. So it's not even, I mean, in terms of being eligible to apply for them, you definitely need to pass your first year modules, that I do know. But I would say it's not just a case of passing them. You really want to try and perform the best that you can, because employers are looking for the top students, particularly if there's a certain company or field that you're most interested in. It is a really good idea to demonstrate that you have those skills and abilities. So, you know, not just trying to basic pass them, but give it your best shot.
And also very often I, as a teacher or course director, I am asked to write a reference on a student who is applying for a placement. So obviously I will not provide a good reference if you failed your exams. So yes, you are expected to perform very well if you want to go for placement or international exchange.
Exactly. There's a question with regards to sending IELTS and other qualification results. Yes, please send them to us. We don't need the originals. What we want is a copy. So you can either photocopy your certificates and post it to the undergraduate admissions office, or else you can scan them and email them to us. The email address we've already posted up there, but we will give it to you again. It is casug@city.ac.uk. You need to include your UCAS personal ID when you send those results to us. And we need to receive all results by the 31st of August. That is our deadline for any results to be coming in for students that want to join CAS this coming year.
Sorry, there is a question about study
abroad.
Yes, second year it's a study abroad. You are there. Sorry.
We have a little coughing fit going. Yes. Shall I try and answer for the meantime?
Yes. You either have a replacement of a second year, or after second year you study additional year in another international institution. So between second and the third year you have all sorts of options to study internationally or take placement.
Yeah, there are kind of two different options for study abroad. So as Joanna was saying, what you might do, if you're doing the replacement second year, your degree would stay at 3 years in length, so you'd spend that second year at a partner institution studying equivalent modules, and they would count towards your degree classification. Otherwise, if you take the sandwich year, you're spending 2 years at CAS, you're then extending your degree, so the degree is 4 years in length, and you would spend a year between the second and third year at CAS as partner institution.
Yes, final year project depends on your specialization. So if you in finance, you will expect to have a finance topic and you will be supervised by faculty from finance degree. The same with marketing. Faculty from marketing group will supervise you. However, if you go on placement and you get a lot of exciting opportunities and you come back to us that you experience something unique and interesting and actually you want to write your final year project on something else than your specialization, we are able to accept that, because we know work opportunities might really change you, so then you will have a chance to write your final year project based on your placement experiences.
Okay, there's a couple more questions coming in with regards to study abroad. Lisa's asked, is it possible to study at an institution other than the ones that we are affiliated with? I don't believe that it is, but it might be best to check that with the Student Exchange Office. I would say it's probably not possible. Certainly if you want to do the replacement year, we have affiliated with very good business schools who are offering equivalent modules, and there's certainly things, especially in terms of things like professional exemptions, you would very much be tied to that. I'm not sure how it would work if you were taking the sandwich year, where you take the extra year between years 2 and 3. So perhaps, Tom, if you could type the student exchange email address, and then if you had any further questions, Lisa, you could email our Student Exchange Office and just clarify that. Fees, yeah, we have touched on fees already, but so for example, if you were studying on site at City University at CAS, the fees at the moment as they stand, for home students it's going to be, home and European students, it's going to be £9,000 per year, and for international students £15,000 per year. Now, if you're taking year study abroad, you're not paying that full amount. what you're paying is a nominal fee which just covers the sort of professional support that you need administratively for that. So the current fees, and obviously this is for students that are doing it this year, for study abroad for home and European students, £1,100, and for international students, £2,200. You don't pay an additional fee to the partner institution that you'd be studying at.
And you study them in English, although you are in different countries, and there are some electives probably offered in those different languages there, but you will study in English, the equivalent of courses which you would do in business, on business degree in Cass Business School. So all it's in English. Whether you go to Asia or whether you go to Spain, or we recently established exchange with school in Buenos Aires in Argentina. I want to add that our list of international partners is growing. So although now we have 25, by the year you will be making those decisions, we might have few more institutions, and you will maybe be satisfied with that choice.
Exactly. We're getting, actually a question that comes up quite a lot, that we get a lot by email, is do we provide internship in other countries? Well, the answer to that is yes and no. It is possible to get work experience overseas, and certainly you can get brilliant work experience from doing so. What we can't do is we can't kind of not advertisers, but we wouldn't be recruiting as such through companies so they wouldn't be coming to Cass and saying we have this opportunity in X country. What you can do is you would have to kind of source your own internship or internship or placement overseas. What you would have to do in terms of being allowed and authorised to do that is you would have to just show how that was beneficial for your studies in business studies. So you'd have to kind of put a business case forward to our placements office. But then what they can do is, whilst they can't source you positions overseas, they can help support you in terms of your application to any companies you might want to be working for, or in terms of things such as, you know, again, support during that year. So hopefully that will answer the question. Yes and no would be the answer there.
Also, very interesting question, what is more popular, study abroad or placement? This varies, depends on the cohort. I think last year we have 56 students going abroad to study in other organizations, and I think around 76 or 80 those who went for placement. But this will vary and really depends on your options and what you want to do. I would say they are equally rewarding, because you have a chance to improve your CV by studying in international institutions, although you are international, but still you make it more diverse and you learn a lot. Or you have a chance to do a placement in City of London and in very reputable organizations. So,
okay. Also, just to sort of say, with sort of study abroad and placements, they are really beneficial for you. We do find typically that students that have done one of those do come back and achieve a higher proportion of 2-1s and firsts. So it's a great opportunity, because firstly, it gives you the opportunity in both senses to kind of put certainly let's start on placement. So it gives you the opportunity to put what you've learned theoretically into practice, and then you can come back with that experience and kind of the drive for where you really know you want to go on to afterwards, and put that into your dissertations in the final year. In terms of study abroad, I mean, we have a large international cohort anyway, and we typically have around 70 nationalities joining Cass. So for a lot of our students, you've already got experience of studying abroad, but you gain so much from, yet again, submerging yourself in a different culture, and you meet lots of great people, and it does show real sort of maturity and independence that you are able to support yourself during that year.
There's a question whether you can do both, study abroad and work and placement. No, because that means you will be 2 years away from university and from business, Cass Business School. That's not good, because by this time our structure of degree can change. You might be back to slightly different degrees, so there will be a problem. So you can either choose one or another one, but not really two of them.
What you can do, however, Izzy, is you could, for example, try and apply for a summer internship, which will give you work experience. Now, internships are brilliant. They actually pay incredibly well, so you can sometimes get paid more for a 9-week internship than you might do in a 12-month placement. With that goes hand in hand the fact that it's then incredibly competitive to get onto. But that is possibility. So you could, for example, do an internship, which would normally take place between the second and third year. Second and third year in that summer. And that would still allow you the opportunity to do a year's study abroad. The other option you could do is you could do the sandwich year, so you spend the first 2 years at CAS and then spend 1 semester at a partner institution. Obviously, you'd have to let the Student Exchange Office know that you were only doing the 1 semester beforehand. And then that would give you sort of 6 months to gain work experience. But that would have to be, again, it's not, companies wouldn't typically have 6-month placements. They would be advertising through universities. So it would have to be a case of you having to supply your own work experience and again have to justify the fact that it was relevant. But in theory, a couple of students will do it. It's just not that popular. So you might find you pick one.
There's a question about grant for EU from Stefania. Grant as EU student, and whether this is available for them. And
okay, Stefania, to be honest, I'm not the best expert in terms of fees and funding. What we can do, we can provide you with contact details for the finance office. They're based within the University Student Centre. They will have the most current and up-to-date information in terms of sort of what kind of maintenance grants you may be eligible for, things such as any bursaries or scholarships that are coming up and being offered. And I think rather than us kind of give you advice that may or may not be up-to-date or accurate, it might be best to get that from them. So we'll give you contact details for the Student Centre. Any other questions? I can see a few people are typing. These are really great questions, so thank you, everybody. Yes, we do. we do host exchange students. So again, the partner institutions that we're sending our students to, we have agreements with them. So for example, the University of British Columbia, we will send some students there and they will send some students to us. So you should expect that in your second and third year that you might be in tutorials and lectures next to students that are here just for the 1 year.
A lot of students from Madrid or Bocconi, from University of Bocconi, you can see a lot of students from Scandinavia, a lot from North America. So yes, we do have an exchange. Our students go there and then those students come to our school.
This question in terms of do you always get to choose where to study abroad? It's kind of similar to the placements in so much as you're not guaranteed that if there's a certain institution that you're really set on going to, it is again competitive because they will only have limited places. What you would typically do when you first apply for a year's study abroad is you would put, I think it's normally up to 3 choices of institutions, and again you'd put forward like a case, normally personal statement, and then and sometimes interviews as well for those. And then you would then be allocated based on the top students that would then get their first choice. Typically the ones that are really popular, the hot countries, so places like Singapore, Hong Kong. Northern Europe seems to be less popular. I'm not quite sure why that is because there's some great cities, but certainly the Student Exchange Office will do their best to place you at your institution of choice.
Dina, to get scholarship, that's competitive. You have to apply and provide a statement, but it's all explained on the link of scholarships, so it's a competitive process.
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, certain ones are competitive, so there might be one-off scholarships. They typically, as they come into fruition, we will email round to applicants who are eligible to apply for those. They might just be sort of a one-off scholarship for one or 2 or 3 students. The other things like the Lord Mayor of London Scholarship or the CAS International Scholarship, they are based on academic merit. So the Lord Mayor of London Scholarship, if you are eligible for that, that will be automatically given to you. For the International Scholarship, you do have to apply, but typically, if provided that you put in a decent statement for that, if you academically meet that criteria, you would be given the scholarship, and we don't have a limit on the number of students that we give that to. It is based on whether you meet that academic criteria. For the International Scholarship, I believe that we're going to be opening up applications from middle of next month, from April. That will be, in order to be eligible to apply, you will need to have an unconditional offer with CAS. And that will remain open. It's normally till about mid-October. I don't think the dates have yet been confirmed. But so yeah, so if you're worried that you've not yet got your results, don't worry about it, because as soon as you do get your results and your offer is unconditional, provided you meet that academic merit, you would then be in a position to apply for the scholarship.
There's a question about societies. We have some national societies. I'm not sure about Kazakh society.
We have quite
There
a
are
few,
some
actually.
Eastern European societies, that's what I know.
Do you know what? We actually do have a Kazakh
yes.
society. Yeah, there's a number of them. So, for example, we have Chinese society, Greek Cypriot society, Latin American, Malaysian, Pakistan, Singapore. These are just some of them. So, there's certainly not all of them. We also have, I mean, there's a huge number of societies, but for example, there are quite a few caste Pacific societies. There's actually a City Insurance and Risk Management Society, which some of our investment students started a few years back, and quite a few of the business studies students do belong to that as well.
The faith societies.
Yeah, we have lots of faith societies. We also have things such as, for example, a photography society, an energy society, which is quite an interesting one, motorsport, poker, mountaineering, lots of different things.
Some political and campaigning societies, from Amnesty International, Student Society to Politics Society, UNICEF Society, so I'm sure you will find something which is for you.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, in terms of the gym, it's actually being refurbished and redesigned. What would you say the correct terminology is? In a sense, yeah, it is being built. It's being rebuilt. It's being rebuilt on the inside. It's going to look fantastic. It's a state-of-the-art, state-of-the-art kind of equipment and everything. And that's due to open in September. So that would be open in time for you. And that's certainly where lots of the sort of training and there will be things like gym classes, if that sort of interests you, free weights areas. It's going to be very nice.
Now there's an interesting question about students, leaders, reps opportunities. Yes, you have a chance to be a class representative. We usually look for 4 to 5 representatives per cohort of 200 students, and every year we choose different students, so they represent voice of students. We meet twice a year, you pass us feedback and we give you feedback and you pass to your students. So yes, definitely there is such options. That's one of the most important process of sharing feedback and information with students, a part of the classroom and formal events. So yes, we need good class reps, and we think that's a good practice and exercise for you, for your communication skills, how you create arguments, how you can represent your colleagues. So yes, there are such options.
Lisa's asked if you had to pay a fee to use the gym at the school. I'm actually not quite sure if you would pay a fee for the school for that, if you'd maybe be paying for certain classes. Probably the best thing to do is we have given you the link for the new sports and leisure facilities, and it's probably best to look on there to get the up-to-date information for that. But certainly, if there was a fee to be paid, I imagine it would be quite nominal. And also in terms of sort of the gym chains in the area, we also do get very good rates for students. So for example, you wanted to join a Fitness First or a Virgin Active, and there's quite a few of those in the area around the university, and again that kind of information is available on the sports and leisure pages. Let's see what else is coming through for questions. I get some good interesting queries, yeah?
Yeah.
I can see a couple of people are typing. Multiple attendees are typing. I hope these are some good questions. Okay, so how many mature students do you find attending the Business Studies Management course? Well, you certainly shouldn't feel old at 24. I can tell you now that everyone sat in this room answered the questions as older. Typically, I mean, yeah, to be honest, it is quite a young cohort. So around a third of our students are sort of 18, 19, 20. There are a number of students who are perhaps 23, 24, 25, 26. We don't have masses of students much older than late 20s. I think one year we had someone in their 30s, but normally the older students are around 27, 28, and I think that is because of the nature of our programs and the types of things that the students are interested in. At 24, I wouldn't worry about feeling old. Typically the types of students that we do recruit for the programs, they tend to be quite mature and very driven, so it certainly shouldn't feel that you're surrounded by students significantly younger than you. and you certainly shouldn't be the only 24-year-old, so hopefully that will reassure you a little bit.
But you not will be on your own. There will be some few students like you or students with work experience who worked 2 or 3 years and decided to start. So cohort is big enough to have a variety of students. So don't worry.
Okay, the next open day, it's Wednesday the 2nd of April. It's for offer holders. If you are holding an offer, you should have been sent an email by the university's marketing department. If you're waiting for a decision, if you get a decision before that date, you would then be invited by the marketing department to attend. Otherwise, there is another open day which is going to take place, I believe it's the 2nd of July. The date should be available on the university website. If you can't attend those days but you would like to come and visit the campus, the university hosts tours which take place most Tuesday mornings. So again, you can book a place online on the campus tour, and what they do at the end of the tour, it normally takes about 30-40 minutes. At the end of the tour, they will bring anyone interested in joining CAS up to meet with CAS admissions, and we can then answer questions and sort of show you the sort of CAS student area. Again, if Tuesdays aren't good for you and you can't make the visit days, you can get in touch with CAS admissions at our email address and arrange an appointment with us within normal office hours, and we'd be happy to sit down and meet with you. Our appointments are normally sort of 10-15 minutes in length, and you'd then be free after the appointment to have a look around the university to get a feel for what the university is like, because it is really important that wherever you go and join to study, that you do feel comfortable within the environment.
There's an interesting question about whether if you're slightly older or 27, 28 once you graduate, whether you will be disadvantaged in comparison with other graduates. Well, ageism is forbidden in European Union and in UK, so companies cannot hire based on age. However, there are some companies which offer placements for graduates, so then you will know that's a specific scheme. However, I would say chances are equal. Attitude is important, and what you represent in terms of skills and knowledge and expertise rather than your age. Age as information is forbidden now in a workplace to be considered as a relevant information about your value. So I would not worry so much about age in comparison with younger people. And we know Europe is aging, Asia is aging soon. All of us will be older, and not many young people, so you don't need to worry really.
I'd also say, Ali, in terms of things like, graduating as a 27, 28-year-old, you're actually in a very strong position, because what you can do is you can sort of show, the fact that you did come back to study, having had a break potentially. I don't know your own background, but I know certainly there are quite a few applicants who, they may do a few years, work experience, and they think, actually, I am suddenly really driven. I know where I want to go in life. I want to get this undergraduate degree. They work hard, they get very good results, and then they go out and they go on to forge really successful careers. So you can actually use that extra maturity and that extra few years experience to your own advantage.
Also, interesting question on, do we have a better chance to do master at CAS if we do CAS undergraduate? Yes. We have a lot of specialized master programs. I happen to be a course director for business studies, but also for masters in management. So yes, you have a chance to continue your studies with us, and you will know more what to expect, and yes, that's the option for you. We offer, because CAS Business School is based in City of London for postgraduate studies, we really offer very good specialized master courses. So if you're interested in finance, in insurance, accounting, there are plenty of master courses there for you.
Also, just to say, in terms of that, I do believe that the MSc department at CAS do offer a slight discount on tuition fees for students who have taken a CAS undergraduate degree and have got, I think it's a 2-1 or a first in terms of their classification. Which does kind of actually help link to one of the questions that's also coming up. It says, I've also heard that there are 3 kinds of excellence in the degree depending on how you do in the exams. I think that's probably relating to degree classifications. Do you want to answer that, Joanna, in terms of how you know? I mean, basically the way it works, you will get marks in percentages. The percentages then link to a degree classification. So when you graduate, you would hope to graduate with honours. That would mean that you have passed your modules over a certain percentage, which is normally 40%.
Yes.
40% is the very basic. So ideally, you want to be performing higher than that. Certainly, if you want the best opportunity for graduate positions afterwards. The top thing that you can graduate with is first class honours. That means that your average is 70% or above. The one below that is upper second class, or a 2-1. That's between 60 and 69%. A 2-2 is 50 to 59%, and third class honours is 40 to 49%. So hopefully that answers that one.
There's a good question on mentoring and personal tutors. So in terms of personal tutors, you get them from year 1. You're supposed to meet with them twice a year, and if there is a problem, you can request additional meeting. Tutors are teachers, experienced faculty members who usually do not teach you, and they are the ones to provide you a reference once you apply for placement or for job opportunities afterwards. In terms of mentoring, you can get mentoring by senior students, so your colleagues. We have a special scheme, but also you have a career coach. So special people, special officers from our career offices hired only by CAS Business School to help you and to coach you on one-to-one basis. And then they can provide help and advice in terms of your job applications, in terms of how and what to write in your statement, how to structure CV, how to pass first interview. I know recently we offered speed interviewing, specific workshop for people in terms of interviewing skills. So you will get a lot of help on that level as well.
Also, I mean, it's not so much related to kind of a mentor for careers, but what we do offer is we have a thing called a buddy scheme. So when we send you the induction week information over the summer, you will be invited to, if you want to have a buddy, your buddy would typically be a current CAS student who is probably about to join their second year, and they'll be there just to kind of meet up with you a few times as you're sort of settling in. Just kind of give you support in terms, because it is a big jump from going, from schooling to university study for quite a lot of people who are living away from home for the first time, and they're excellent in terms of giving you support, what to expect from lectures, kind of study skills or anything really, and they're all trained up, and it's a really fantastic way as well of kind of making friends, not just within first year students.
Also, apart from induction, which you will get very intensive induction week for first year, we do have re-induction sessions with course director for second and the third year, then special workshops about your final dissertation. So you get academic advice from me as a course director on specific sessions. You don't need to have a one-to-one with your personal tutor, so we try to inform our students